You know, there is a huge bull case and a huge bear case on Palo Alto Networks out there. But one thing for sure is that the street expects that you are going to be earning more money than it did 60 days ago. While everybody else's numbers keep getting taken down, analyst expectations for your company keep getting ratcheted higher. Why is that? What's happening? What do you see?
Well, we're not going to talk about the next quarter since we're working hard towards delivering it. But I think what's interesting is I spent the last day and a half at Davos, and everybody's talking about the digital transformation, the fourth industrial revolution. And the next word that comes out of their mind is trust. There's going to be no transformation without trust. There's going to be no trust without security. Every time you read the front page of the journal or you watch people on CNBC talking about the next data breach, you take one notch away from the trust that people have in companies. So it's very important that security, risk, cybersecurity has to be on every CEO and every board's agenda. And we're noticing that it's getting more and more in focus. More and more people are paying attention to it. So I think we're in a positive secular trend, aided by this digital transformation around the world, that people are going to have to pay attention to security for a while.
We referred to the Gartner numbers and the growth that's expected in the industry. I think it's something like 12% or what they estimated to happen for 2018. For a long time, you've been outpacing industry growth, though. Are you continuing to take market share?
I love how you want to keep dragging me back to what's going to happen. Look, there is a secular trend. We have superior products. We do a really good job in working with our customers and securing them, and customers prefer us. Now, however that translates into numbers, we'll figure out. But we're very happy with the products that we have, and we're very happy with the products we're making.
How much do you worry about the products that you have, or at least the technology that you have, ultimately getting built into what's so-called the stack by the big cloud providers? And I'm talking about, obviously, the Googles of the world, the AWSs of the world.
Well, if they're going to do everything, we might all, like, I heard they're going to be the next media company as well, so we should all just go relax and let them do everything. I don't think they're going to do this. Look, first and foremost, if you talk to the customers out there, they want to be hybrid cloud, multi-cloud. Very few customers are saying, I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. Now, yes, will Google do a great job of trying to secure their infrastructure? Yes. Will Microsoft do a good job of trying to secure the infrastructure? Yes. Well, but they're not going to do anything that's going to help you on a cross-platform basis. So that's one problem they're not going to solve. We're going to help solve it. And the other thing they're not going to do anything about is this notion of shared responsibility. They protect the infrastructure. Well, how you protect what you do inside is your problem. It's like you buy a house, it comes with a door and a security alarm. But then you've got to figure out you can lock the door when you leave.
But they're increasingly trying to provide services to create the lock for their customers.
They have security hubs and security centers where they allow third-party cybersecurity vendors to be present, and we are big partners, all three of them, and we do a lot of selling with them. But also there's the notion of this multi-cloud, cross-platform things that you have to have. Not only that, you have to be able to correlate that with what they're doing on-premise. So we think we'll be fine.
Hey, Nikesh, the bear case on Wall Street, some people will say you didn't know anything about cybersecurity before you got into this, but you didn't know anything about ad sales before you started at Google back in 2004.
Yes.
So I just wonder, what have you learned about cybersecurity in the last 7 months that you've been on the job, and how have your views changed over that time?
I keep changing my views, but for now, the current state of affairs is that it's a bit messed up. I think we haven't spent enough time thinking about it as we've built infrastructure in companies, and it's very hard to go pivot that on one day and say, let me go fix it. It's going to take us a while to get there for things to get totally secure as we want them. And I think that's one part of the problem. The other part of the problem is that we bought security just the way we bought IT. So we've always had two vendors, tried to have vendor sort of, not get price gouged by one or have two different people. The problem is our systems don't talk to other security vendor systems. They're not supposed to, because if they did, they'd talk to the bad guys. So we've got to make sure that people start looking at it as a platform play. And we have 3 platforms at Palo Alto Networks, which you tell customers, you're better off getting the whole platform from us as opposed to trying to piecemeal the best of breed. I think that's a big change coming in the industry. And the third big change is coming is we're going to have to do a lot more automation on this stuff. You want the cyber attack to be stopped mid-flight. Today, it takes between 50 to 150 days for companies to find out that somebody's been lurking in their infrastructure.
Really?
Yes.
And you could get that down to what, you think?
You have to get it down to real time. You've got to be able to stop it as it's happening. If they've taken the data and gone, then we'll be discussing.
Given that we have so many other executives and policymakers who watch this program, I'm surprised. What is the biggest surprise in terms of hole in the security systems that you've seen, either from an industry perspective or a place where you went, wow, I really didn't appreciate that is actually as insecure as it is?
It's like there's 2 people you don't want to hear from. Is your security company or your insurance guy? Usually that means you're in trouble. Something's broken, something's bad. And I think a lot of boards have not paid attention to the topic. They've had some risk manager or a security officer, and they look them in the eye and say, are we secure? He says, yeah, we think we're pretty good. We're best of breed. I was like, that's good enough for me. But honestly, if you go look at the infrastructure out there, on average, a company has between 25 to 40 cybersecurity vendors. I don't know how you keep yourself secure with 40 different vendors in your infrastructure.
Yeah. We just heard from the CEO of Marsh & McLennan a little earlier this morning. He said that the biggest demand they're seeing for new insurance needs from boards is for cybersecurity.
Yeah, I was in a panel with the Allianz CEO, and he said there's not enough data out there that's good enough for them to be able to price it right.
Right. That's what we wondered. Is this something like the cheapest insurance ever offered? Or are you going to be facing some sort of asbestos tsunami where you find out what the after effects are down the road?
I think there is the normalization that's going to happen over the next few years as people get more and more sort of tied to this notion of technology enabling everything.
Are you surprised that given all the security holes we keep hearing about and breaches, that there actually hasn't been more actual damage? Meaning you often hear about these huge headlines, hundreds of millions of people whose identity has been stolen, but you rarely hear about stories where there's been true damage on an individual level, at least, or on a large-scale basis.
Oh, I was on the same panel. I think the Secretary General of Interpol said that this is a $6 trillion cyber crime industry. Wow. So you don't hear about it. I know in a specific instance, we shared threat data with one of the government agencies, and we were able to stop a $20 billion scam.
Wow.
So it's out there. Right. We're just not talking about it. But if you look at all the companies you've seen headlines for, how much after the breaches did you find out they had been breached? If you look at the last 5, I'm not going to name companies up here, but if you look at the last 5, it took us a long time to find out they've been breached and data had been gone.